Let's take a look at the process of making a series of images using Adobe Photoshop. So obviously we're going to open Photoshop and then we're going to go New File or File menu and then New to start a new file. We want to set our sizes to 1920 width, 1080 high, 72 resolution for our digital entries. If we're doing print, we'll need to change those settings. And to add our images, we're going to use File, Place Embedded. We're going to find our photo that we want to include and then add it to our workflow. And as you can see, it's in the transform mode. So we can resize it here by dragging on those corner points, or I prefer to actually pull all my images in at once or get them all loaded. And then we'll be able to resize them accordingly. So now I have two of my three images. I'm just going to show you we can also just drag and drop directly from the Finder into Photoshop. So now we have all three of our images. But obviously it doesn't work as a series just yet because we can't see all three images. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Layers panel. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over to the Layers panel and we're going to select the images by holding down Shift, clicking on the first and then clicking on the last. And with that selected, we can resize our images. So by holding Option or Alt on a PC and Shift and dragging from the corner, you could see that we can pull them in towards the center. If you just want to resize them from one edge, you can hold Shift and that will resize it proportionally as well. So now that we've got our three images and they're all sized and we've moved them around, we have our series. And the next thing you might want to do is you might want to add a border to your image. And to do that, we just double click there at the end of that name on the layer. It will open the layer styles or the effects panel. And when we click on stroke, and then we can select the color that we want and set the size and the position. And the position, you can see I set it as inside. And the reason why we choose inside is because it gives us that crisp edge. If we choose center, it sits on the center line, and you can see both center and outside give you a weird rounded edge. And then to copy them, you just hold down Option or Alt and drag that effects layer down to the other layers, and you'll get the same thing. And then to save it out, we're actually using the Export As. And the Export As is found under File, Export, Export As, or holding down Shift, Option, Command, and W. If you have an older version of Photoshop, you'll need to use the Export for Web, which is File, Export, Save for Web instead, and choose JPEG. None of this should have to change, like your width, your height, your scale, all that should be the same because we set that up at the start. Just make sure that your metadata is set to none, and Convert to sRGB and Embed Color Profile are set. This will mean that your image will show up correctly on whoever's viewing it. And then we need to name our file when we push export. So we're using our competition number. So first our grade and then our 3-digit number, and then underscore, and then set, and then underscore digital. So set subject and digital, and then give it a name. And use underscores to separate those words. We do that for readability, and so it's obvious what you want to call your image. And then we're done. We've saved it out. And the only thing left to do is for you to email that file that you've just saved to your computer to competitions@williamstowncameraclub.com.au, and your entry will be in. Good luck, everyone.